So, the last video we saw on how to do asynchronous testing, and remember we were able to test a function which is asynchronously returns a value. Um, just to go back to the component right here, the fetch data component, it kind of uses a set timeout mechanism, right? So, I mean, I just kind of committed it, but if you just make it to like 4 seconds, right? Let's see what happens in the test case. So it's kind of starts the process, runs the 10th test case, and then kind of waits for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then only runs the 11th test case. You could have noticed this time delay right here. So what is happening right here? I mean, in the component TS file, you said when stable. When stable really makes sure that your response has been returned from here, and then only executes this further code from here. Now, in testing times, of course, this might be a little bit of problem because you don't really want to expect a delay while executing the test cases. Now there are things available, and I'll suggest you to take a look at the library. So if you just go to the Angular testing module right here, so this will you can see this. So search around for Angular uh, testing API. Now, apart from what we have already used here so far and etching as well, there's something called as fake async method available, and this kind of has a different approach to the whole testing, and there are methods available which will not make you wait for the response to come back, and so you can use something like a fake sync along with a tick or a micro flush micro task, and that's not really going to make you wait all the while. So this kind of simulation that you can do. So this is kind of a whole comprehensive API in itself. Now, having said this, I think one of the things that we need to remember is there are two categories of tests. I mean, in this particular test cases that we have seen so far, there is there are two components that are kind of dependent on each other. But what if the components don't even depend on each other? In that case, do I really need to use all these features? Let's just try and do something right here. So I'm going to type in here ng new generate a pipe, and I'll make it like reverse pipe. Let's see. I mean, we've done this reverse pipe before in our sessions, but the idea is to generate a fresh pipe. We'll just have one method inside it. So hopefully it does somewhere right over here, and it just has a transform method that comes in from the pipe transform. Now remember how we did it, right? So this is kind of string value, and this is not even needed, so I'll just keep it as it is. And all I need to do is just take the value, not split it into an array because the strings don't really have a reverse function, and then use the reverse function to reverse the array and then join it back here again. Now that's what the pipe does really. Now if you look at this spec in this case, I mean it does a lot of things, including the test bed and everything. But do we really need it in this case? Because what we are talking about is an isolated example of a method. This method does not really depend on anything. I mean, the component methods depended on the service to get the values, but the transfer method, it does not really depend on any other value. So how do we test this? I mean, can I just simply go down to the spec right here, and I mean, it just tries to create a pipe and just expects it to be truthy. That's all. And maybe I can just use a pipe and use the pipe dot transform method, and I'm going to pass here, let's say hello, and I'm expecting that this is going to give us a little string value right here. So let the reversed string of type string again to be the result of this, right? And then I expect reversed string to be just the reverse of this string right here. So it says OLLEH. And let's see our test cases right here. well, 11 are successful now, 12 are successful. So create an instance. I think this is called test reverse 5. Now the wait for the 12th is still on because I'm just using it the timeout method right here. But I think the let's wait for 4 seconds otherwise. So we have the pipe right here. It says test reverse pipe, and this is successful. So this is an example of an isolated case. And isolated, we've done a service already in this example, possibly here in the services when we just kind of created a service, and I just wanted to check the value of it, or not here, but possibly here into the spec file. And another example of service isolated one. I could just use this and check it against something. This is just does not require any of these API methods, including async, fake async, test bed, component fixture, nothing right here. Just carry on with your isolated testing. So I think this should set up the right grounds for unit testing. Remember, we have discussed various aspects on how to test in unit test. Now, this is not only about testing, so there are other topics to be done. But you'll have to take it forward from here, and I am sure that the grounds are set for at least doing basic unit testing, even with the async flows, and this should be good for our applications as far as this is concerned. Of course, to know more about this, there is the API right here, and there is also a bit of guide available. So if you just do Angular testing here again, you'll notice Angular testing is kind of a comprehensive guide, and you'll have to go through this to understand this in a little bit more detail. So that's it from the testing point of view, and I'll expect you to create test cases for the important methods that you have written in your application, and then take it as an assignment where you're gonna write those test cases yourself, uh, and you can take a little help from the documentation right here. So thank you for watching, and we'll go to the next topic.